Alright, it's time to start the third season, but first we're going to do another edition of the Prospect Report. Now, last time, we basically went through and we waited till the start of the regular season, and then we were going to check out the prospects that cracked the NHL and were still in development. But first, we're going to go through the top 15 picks of the draft. Now, we actually had the 15th pick naturally this year, so it was kind of funny the way it worked out. We had the 15th pick 2 years in a row. So, picking number one overall was the New Jersey Devils. They picked up a guy named Clegg. Is he a goalie? Oh no, I'm sorry, he would be in the minors. Kevin Clegg, two-way defenseman, 53 overall. He looks like he's very far out. He's already got a decent shot. Yeah, he's pretty well-rounded in all these categories. Good two-way defenseman. He's a very good skater already. For his overall, he's gonna be a good defenseman in this league, I think. Columbus picks number 2. He's only 18, so he's got a lot of room to grow, obviously. That's Colorado. Columbus picked number 2, and they got Brodeur, who it would be funny if he was a goalie. Yeah, he is. Jeremy Brodeur, 4.5 stars, 63 overall. I'm not going to go deep into their stats. I'm just going to let you look, and if you want to see, you can pause that. Calgary picked next. They got De Koning. I believe that's how you pronounce that name. Went a little bit too far. He was a 70 overall goalie, so he's already 20 years old, though, so it just looks like he was a little bit further along in development. Who's already there? We'll check in a minute when we come back. There was Green on Arizona, and he was not a goalie, actually. He was a offensive defenseman. Yeah, that's his stats, 51 overall. Obviously, he's nowhere near ready for the NHL at this point. The Vancouver Canucks took Jarrett. He is a 4.5-star defenseman, so I don't think a forward is gone yet. I think he's been all defensemen and goalies. That's his stats right there. Krisky went to the Islanders, so we'll go to the Islanders. We'll go a long way around for this. He was a center playmaker, 4.5 stars. Maybe he could play with John Tavares, who knows. That's his stats right there. Not great face-offs. Wilms on Buffalo. That's the next pick, number 7. So it looks like Buffalo's on the rise. Connor McDavid's in the minors, really? Wilms. He was a goalie, 50 overall. Okay, and I'll show the stats. I'm not going to go deep into it. L. Brown on the Colorado Avalanche was the next pick. Look. Oh, there he is. Oh, whoops, I went to Ryan Pilon on accident. Logan Brown, power forward center, big man, 6'6", 221. He's going to be a beast, and we got to deal with him in that division, so he's going to be a beast. Julien Gauthier, I believe, is it Julien? But he was next, unless that's someone who's already in the league. Gauthier, yeah, Julien Gauthier, playmaker, 4 stars. So after Wilms, there really wasn't many great prospects left available. Playmaker, right wing. 6'5", 222. If he could develop physicality, he's got the frame for it. Calgary also had the 10th pick. They took Centro Aim with that pick. I don't know if they traded for it at the draft or beforehand, and the team just ended up not making the playoffs. But he was a 72 overall defenseman, two-way defenseman, and that's his stats. Looks like he's pretty good skater. He could be more of an offensive threat than a defensive threat. With those stats. Bureau went to the Washington Capitals. Guess he's not going to be up there. Goalies, I guess. Yeah, they took another goalie, 3.5 stars. Looks like he might be a little bit of a bust. Jake Smith is on his way up to the main roster, though, so watch out, Braden Holtby. He'll probably stay on the roster anyway, whatever. Bureau. I don't know why I'm looking at that, sorry. He's 3.5 green stars. Yeah, that's his stats. He's pretty good already, but he's not going to get much better. He was picked 11th overall. Might be a bust, who knows. Grant on the LA Kings was the 12th pick. He was a goalie, Tavin Grant, 53 overall at 18 years old. 4 stars, better than the goalie taken before him, but he's not quite as NHL ready. Spacek was the next pick for Florida. There haven't been a lot of good like offensive players. Oh, he's right there. Right wing, two-way forward, 4 stars. They got a lot of these in their system. Pretty well rounded all around. Going to be a good two-way forward, I think. Kaspic was the final lottery pick by the Philadelphia Flyers. And then it's our pick. So he's Tanner Kaspic, center playmaker, 51 overall, 18 years old. So that's that. And then our pick was obviously Sean Day, who ended up being pretty good. 59 overall at 18 with 4.5 red stars still, but I mean he's gonna improve. And he has 4.5 stars just in general, so he could end up being really good. So that's all the draft picks. So now let's go just look at top prospects in general and in the system coming up. So our top prospects are all NHL players at this point. Tyler Johnson with 4.5 yellow stars, Matt Duchene as well. Seth Jones and Philip Forsberg and Nikita Kucherov all have a form of 4.5 stars, whether it be red or yellow. And then goaltenders, we don't have any potential goaltenders, so we'll do goaltenders after. And then in their system, we have Day, Konechny, Chapman, Cale Yarncroke, who's looking more and more like a bust every day, and D. Sherman as 4 yellow star players. New Jersey has Kyle Klog, Adam Brooks, Guillaume McSween, Owen McDonald, and Matt Schmalz as their top prospects, and Damon Severson and Adam Larson starting to grow into their roles on the team. Maybe they could be a top 2 pairing of the future, who knows. And Eric Jelena and John Merrill are also nice as well. They're set defensively for the next few years. Hopefully this Henrique Boucher combo can get around there. And apparently they have Jeff Petrie as well. They got a lot of defensive players. So the Islanders, Michael DeCole is an 86 overall. Did he play last season? He might not have even played in the NHL, so he'd be like a Philip Forsberg situation, yeah, where he's a rookie, but he's already really good. Griffin Reinhart, 82 overall, making the NHL. Finally, Ryan Pulock as well, and Ryan Strome, Calvin DeHaan, Brock Nelson, Nick Leddy, Travis Hamonic, their top guys in the NHL, potential-wise, and then they got Krisky, Cholapik, Jonathan Deschamps, and Joshua Hosang in the minor leagues. The Rangers have Chris Kreider, Derek Stepia, all NHL-ready players, and then in the minors they got Bethune and Mikola and Clarence Perreault, and just it's not really prospects at that point. Ottawa has Paul Bittner, Guillaume Gauthier, Curtis Lazar, Dylan Strome, and in the NHL they have Carlson and CC Cowan, yeah, all NHL caliber players at this point. Philadelphia's got Couturier still developing. Seems like he's been in the NHL forever already. Robert Hagg, Michael Dozzato, he's about to cap out. Luke Shen about to cap out. Braden Shen about to cap out. And that's it for their main roster. They got Samuel Morin, Tanner Kaspic, Karel Kubis, Evan DeHaan, and Mitchell Walter in the minors. The Pittsburgh Penguins have Masherin, Josh Thrower, the guy I can never pronounce his name, Sidorov in the minors, and up on the NHL roster they got Derek Pouliot, Bo Bennett, only Mata up to an 87 overall, Scott Harrington, and Kasperi Kapanen. Looks like he finally cracked the roster. Must be a weak roster this year. San Jose, Mirko Mueller, Thomas Hertl, Matt Nieto, and then the minors got Oscar Kylington and Sean Talixon and Nikolai Godobin. They got a pretty decent future, if you ask me. St. Louis, Nikita Korostelov, Dylan DePerna, Robbie Fabry, who's almost ready for the NHL, Boris Valentenko, and then they must have, they have Bashabev in the NHL. Another Pietrangelo seems like he's been in the NHL forever at this point. And like he's still has potential. Tarasenko, Jaden Schwartz, Babyshev, Ratty, PRV, and Dmitry Yaskin as far as potential for them. We'll do goaltenders after. So in the Tampa Bay Lightning system, they got Anthony DeAngelo, Bunneman, Slater Cuckoo, Antoine Marcoux, Daniel D'Souza, Adam Ernie, And then the main roster is just ridiculous. They got Stamkos, who's still, I think this is his last year of development, but he's going to be ending up as a 95 overall, eating up that salary cap too. He hasn't had that great of a point output the last 2 years, but he's been great, scoring almost 40 goals. He scored 30 goals both the last 2 years, so that's good. Yeah, that's going to kill them in the next couple years, that extension. Jonathan Drouin, 4.5 green stars, 88 overall already. Victor Hedman still isn't capped out. Palat still isn't capped out. Nemesnikov made it. Pontus Aberg, who was one of our players, is up to an 83 overall. Maybe he can have a good rookie season, prove us that he can be a good player. And we shouldn't have given up on him. Then they got, I already went over their minor leagues. So Toronto's got Dominic Halak, William Nylander, Mitchell Marner, Matthew Hotchkiss, Morgan Riley, 89 overall and only 22. Let's look at his point output the last couple years. He's great offensively. He's also good defensively, and his physical is not that bad either, besides his fighting strength. He's a really good player. 64 points as a defenseman last season, including 53 assists. He's like the next Duncan Keith. Crazy. And they got Kadri, who's up to a 91 overall. Great shot. Only 59 points last season. Expect a jump from him this year, though, in point production. And then they got Jake Gardner, Frederick Gauthier, and Peter Holland as well. Vancouver, Hunter Shinkaruk, Sven Berchi, Lucas Biza, Adam Clendenning, Nicholas Jensen finally made it up, Zach Cassian, Bo Horvat. And in their minors, they got Jarrett, Tyler Benson, and Daniel Sprong, as well as Jared McCann, Tim Gettinger, and Jake Burtonen. Washington has John Carl. Yeah, he's really maxed out. Andre Burakovsky, Madison Bowie. I'm just going to go over anyone who's like 23 or younger. Tom Wilson. No, he's not really a prospect. Connor Carrick. Dmitry Ostapov. That's it. They have really not done anything except goaltending, I guess, in there. Winnipeg's got Lazarev, Gauthier, Nicholas Patan, that guy, Josh Morrissey, Nikolaj Ehlers, Ben Fanjoy, and Gregoire, and Komatov. And in the majors, I guess I'd say majors, not really majors. They got Mark Scheifele up to 90, Jacob Trouba, Joel Armia, Anaheim, Hampus Lindholm up to an 87, Nick Ritchie finally in the MLB, NHL. Nick Kurdow's in the minors for them. Tyson Bailey, Stefan Nosen, Shea Theodore, still slow to develop. Frank Hora, and that's it. Arizona has Luke Green, Patrick Meyer, I'm not going to pronounce that name, Brendan Pierlini, Jordan Ty Fournier, that's a weird name, and Juuso Ikonen, as well as Anthony Duclair. I think he was a rookie last season, actually. I want to see what he did as a rookie and see if he's going to get. He only had 20 points, 10 goals, minus 22. Hopefully his overall jump is reflective of his progression just as a player and not those stats. Henrik Samuelsson and Max Domi also in the NHL this season. Boston, David Pastrnak up to an 85 overall. Kalinin, Joe Morrow finally cracking the roster. And then the minors, they got Turcotte, Dove McFalls. That's not really a prospect for them. He's only 3.5 stars. Kirill Grigorenko, Zach Bogosian is up to an 89, top 2 probably. Sam Reinhart's up to an 86, probably their top center, I'd assume. And then they got Jorgensen and Ristolainen still, as well as Nikita Zadorov. And in the minors, they got Connor McDavid. I don't think he should be in the minors, but they also have Bruce Trafford and Pispinen, as well as Shutt. Barzal is on Calgary, Klimchuk, Poirier, Crawford, Bush, LaRouche, Central-Ram, Davies, and then in the majors, I said majors again. They have Sam Bennett, Johnny Gaudreau is up to a 90, and Sean Monahan, as well as Wotherspoon and Bill Arnold, who is up to an 83. Let's look at Gaudreau. He actually had like an equal point output, I thought, last year to Forsberg, because they were like, yeah, they were rookies at the same time, or it was their first year at the same time, because they were contending for the Calder pretty much against each other this year. But yeah, He only had 60 points. Again, it's the same thing with Forsberg. He got up to a 90. He only had like 57 points. Carolina, Skinner, Lindholm, Falk, Murphy, Rask, Steele in the minors, Thibodeau, Vince Dunn, Hayden Fleury, and Jesper Lilja. All right. Chicago's got Dennis Yan, Patrick Phillips, Ryan Hartman, Mark McNeil, Tuvo Teravainen, Brandon Saad up to an 88, Billy Polka up to an 86. They got a lot of good development going on in Chicago. That's it. Colorado has obviously Nathan McKinnon. That's why we took Duchesne from them. Duncan Siemens and Ryan Ellis, 83, stayed at 83. I thought he'd go up a little bit. But, you know, there's filled the need for them. They got Ryan Pilon, Logan Brown, Pavel Zacha, and Alexi Pin in the minors. Columbus has Milano, Blake Penner, Marco Dano, Ryan Johansson up to an 82, and Murphy up to an 87. Kirby Reichel up to an 84. Wenberg 81. Savard looks like he's going to cap out kind of there. Bjorkstrand 82. We know he gets really good, scores a lot of goals. Boone Jenner up to an 83 already, solid. Bottom 6 center. Jeremy Morin isn't really a prospect though. Dallas, Sagan, Nichushkin, Alexiak, Eakin, Radek Fax is not really a prospect at that point. Travis Brown, Jason Dickinson, that guy. Stevens, Detroit, Provorov, Merkley, Halabi, Saigon, and Sproul still hasn't really gotten that great. Anthony Mantha's up to an 85. Danny DeKaiser is going to cap out at an 85. Olet, Tatar, Sheehan all got pretty good, and Yurko as well. Edmonton, we know their story. They got a lot of good potential players, unless they're all capped out at this point. Nope, they still got Eberle, Nugent Hopkins up to an 89. Josiah's up to an 81. Clefbaum's up to an 83. Darnell Nurse. That's it for the main team. And then they got Kircher, Jeremy Waugh, and that's it. They don't have a lot of great prospects anymore. Florida has Ekblad, Barkov, Huberdeau, Grimaldi, Bjugstad. They're going to be a good team this year. Dmitry Kolikov, good Branson. And then in the minors, they got Puigulia, Dupereau, Fane, Marsh, and Spasic. And then they got Anthony DeLuca, who's already getting pretty good too. LA still has McEwen. I forgot to trade him to Carolina, but he would be working out probably a lot better for them. Travis Dermott, and then they got really nothing up here. They got Valentin Zykov and Derek Forbert and Spencer Watson up on their majors roster. I said majors again, Jesus. Yeah, Minnesota's got Coyle, Granlund, Niederreiter, not anyone out of the usual. Brodin, Dumba. Not anyone else that's really notable. Malak and Phillips in the minors. Montreal, Nikita Sherbak, Trennan, Helgeson, and Braden Brown, Lamsa. And then they got Alex Galchenyuk, who's up to a 90. Nathan Beaulieu, who's getting better, it looks like. And that's really it. And then that's back to us. We'll look at goalies really quick. We don't have anything. New Jersey, they got Declos. Looks like he's going to be Declos. I'm sorry. Looks like he's going to be the backup this year. Although I would have put Wedgwood up or something. New York has a few good goalies right here. They got Blackwood, Booth, and Herbst. New York's got Alex Dubois. Ottawa has Dylan, Hill, and Helvig. And then they have Robin Leonard and Dridger. I wish Andrew Hammond was in this game. He would be well before I started it. Max Shields and Steve Mason up in Philadelphia. Packle, Evan Johnson for them. So Max Shields might be pretty good this year. Thomas Grice, Stalick. Oh, I didn't look at the minors for Pittsburgh. They don't have anything really. San Jose's got Guindon and Verhelst, as well as Van Schubert, who's pretty decent. So they got a pretty good future, it looks like. St. Louis, nothing. That's good. You don't want them to get very good. Patrick Day for Tampa Bay, as well as Andre Vasilevsky and Ben Bishop re-signed with them, it looks like, for the next 3 years. So that should bridge them over to Day pretty well. Toronto has Nikolai Or sorry, read that wrong. Valerie Nicholson. I tried to read his last name first or something. Vancouver's got Markstrom in the minors still. They haven't really gotten rid of one of these guys. Looks like he's gonna cap out there, and then they have Lee as well. Washington's obviously got Jake Smith. They also got Leapinen, and Alex Burrow, who they drafted in the top 10, I think. Winnipeg's got Michael Hutchinson. He's gonna cap out at that number, and then they got Eric Comrie in the minors as well as Montebo, and this guy who's already in 83 as well. And I'm John Gibson, obviously. They also have Roberto Luongo. Brendan Johnston, 4.5 Red Stars, could be decent for them as well. Arizona's got Rylan Parenteau, Jacob Brennan, Trevor Martin, Mark Byzantine, who looks like he's supplanted Mike Smith as the starter. Boston has Malcolm Subban in the minors still. I don't know why at this point. Michael Herringer and Keelan Williams. Buffalo has Brody Wilms and Cameron Zanussi. So they're decent. They could have a decent future. They're not doing a whole hell of a lot now, though. Calgary's got DeConing. Carolina has Nedeljkovic and Raymakers. Chicago has Weber, who looks like he's pretty good. Cataret, Sittler, and Riley Picard. No one's supplanting Corey Crawford, I don't think, at this point, though. He just won the Vezina. Colorado has obviously Pecorine. Messina, who could be decent for them, and then they have Brendan Burke and Spencer Martin also on their roster. Calvin Picard's pretty good too. Columbus has Jeremy Brodeur, Oscar Dansk, who could probably be the backup, debatably, at this point. And they also have Connor Hicks and Leo Lazarev, who was a top pick for them the year before, and Evan Smith. They got a lot of unsigned goalies going on there. Dallas has nothing. They have Jack Campbell on their main roster. He might be better than Kerry Lettinen if it was more accurate Kerry Lettinen ratings. Detroit has LaChance, Patterson, and Mazurek. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He shouldn't be in the minors, though. Edmonton's got a couple good prospects. Florida's got Vatatur, and they also have Frederick Anderson in the short term. He signed for the next 3 years, so that's a pretty good bridge deal, I think, to Vatatur, and they'll probably end up trading him anyway. LA has Gugu Vaz, Grant, Bion, Taz Berman, and Brock Ham. That's a lot of goalies, and they also have Bartosak, who's already pretty good. Minnesota, Kozin, Lankinen, Georgiev, a lot of weird names. What the hell? No one has like an English name. Fucali for Montreal up to an 80 already. And then they don't really have anything going on up here. And then it's back to us. So that's it for kind of the prospect report. I'm going to come back in the next episode and start Simmons. See you then.